The transport van screeched to a halt, and before Alexei could brace himself, the doors were flung open. Hands grabbed him, dragging him into the freezing night. The prison loomed ahead, a monstrous block of steel and concrete rising out of the snow like a forgotten relic of war. The locals called it the prison of no return. Even the guards whispered the name with unease. Alexei was shoved through a series of metal gates, each one slamming shut behind him with a thunderous clang that echoed through the corridors. By the time he reached his cell, the sound had burrowed into his skull. The guards threw him inside. The door slammed shut with a finality that felt like a coffin lid closing. The cell was barely wide enough for him to stretch his legs. The walls were damp, sweating moisture that trickled down in slow, miserable lines. The air tasted of rust, mold, and something older, the residue of forgotten screams. A single flickering bulb buzzed overhead, casting a sickly yellow glow that made everything look diseased. Alexei sat on the cold floor, his breath forming faint clouds in the frigid air. He had been in many dark places, but this one felt alive, as if the prison itself was waiting for him to break. On the first night, heavy footsteps approached, slow, deliberate. Predatory Warden Sergei Antonov appeared at the bars, a towering figure with a gut like a barrel and shoulders like a bear. His eyes were black and empty, like coal that had burned too long. "You're a famous one," Antonov said, tapping the bars with his baton. Each tap echoed like a countdown. "The traitor who betrayed both sides." Alexei stared back, silent. Antonov smirked, revealing teeth stained by years of cheap cigarettes. "Don't worry," he said, voice dripping with mock sympathy. "You won't be here long. The firing squad is already preparing." He turned and walked away, humming a slow, eerie tune, a lullaby twisted into something cruel. The sound lingered long after he disappeared. Days dissolved into nights, and nights bled into days. Alexei lost track of both. Meals were shoved through a slot. Stale bread, watery soup, sometimes nothing at all. He barely touched them. Sleep came in short, haunted bursts. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Sophie's face, frightened, reaching for him, calling his name. Was she scared? Was she hurt? Was she even alive? The questions gnawed at him like rats in the walls. Every footstep in the hallway made his heart jolt. Every jingle of keys made him brace for the guards to drag him to the yard, to the wall, to the rifles. He lived in a constant state of half-breath, never fully inhaling, never fully exhaling. One night, lying on the freezing concrete, he whispered into the darkness, "Sophie, I'm sorry." "I failed you," his voice cracked. The bulb flickered. The silence swallowed his apology whole. But fate had other plans. Thousands of miles away, in a hidden CIA safe house buried beneath layers of false identities and encrypted access points, Agent Daniel Reyes sat alone in a dimly lit room. Alexei's file lay open on the table. Photos, transcripts, surveillance reports, and a single picture of Sophie tucked between the pages. Reyes had been tracking the case for months. He knew the truth behind Alexei's so-called treason. He knew the price Alexei had paid to protect his daughter. And he knew what the Russians would do to him. Reyes leaned back, rubbing his temples. He had seen too many good people swallowed by the machine. Too many lives erased because they were inconvenient. But this time something felt different. He stared at Alexei's photo, bruised, exhausted, but defiant. A man who had lost everything except the will to fight. Reyes whispered to himself, voice low and resolute, "We're getting him out." The words hung in the air like a vow. He closed the file, locked it, and stood. In that moment, the trajectory of Alexei's fate shifted. Not with a gunshot, not with a miracle, but with a decision made in a quiet room by a man who refused to let another life be thrown away. Alexei's story, the story everyone thought was ending, was only beginning. And the world had no idea what was coming next.